Whoa, 2 days later, election day is over, and people are vastly frustrated in some parts of the country, including here in California. And in other places, they're happy, they're ecstatic. Their candidate won, which means if all goes well, the country that they have imagined and lived to believe in for so long will return. All I can just say is that in the present and in the future, we'll see what happens. Things can go either way at this point, into 100 different directions, possibly more. Outcomes may be good, and outcomes may be worth surviving. But all I can just say is that no matter what, if you have faith and you truly believe, then things will work out in the end. Things will truly work out in the end. So with that being said, if your candidate won, congrats. And if your candidate didn't win, you did your best. Yes, I know there's going to be lots of finger pointing back and forth, a lot of armchair quarterbacking about what could happen, what didn't happen, that should have happened. But this is where we are right now. This is our present reality. Let's make the most of it. Let's do what we can in our local municipalities and in our towns, our cities, and let's just do what we can to make that place a better place. I do want to say those things because it's important that we have to understand. 2024 has been a year of he said, she said, and we've seen it on screen. We know who is in trouble with the law. We know who appeared on a certain video channel and made these accusations about a certain celebrity or celebrities. And we also endured months, maybe a year, of a tough election season that had us ups and downs, thrills and spills, and chills. And finally, 2 days ago, we found out the results so far, what's happening. I still believe the House is being decided right now, and everyone should have news about that soon, regardless who you go for, what your side is. I think the one thing that we should take away and really kind of adopt right now in the present, all the way into the future, is that we have to be civil towards each other. Now, I know what I'm asking you out there is way too much to ask. I know there are people that I know close, who I'm close with, friends of mine, who said, Charles, that's too much to ask, especially since this day and time. And yes, it is way too much to ask for mature men and women to be civil towards each other. And all I can just say is we have to check ourselves at the door, in a manner of speaking. I'm not going to go back and say, well, what about? No, I don't do that. And you shouldn't either. Check yourself and then worry about the other person later. Do not worry about what the other person said or did, or other side said or did. We got to check ourselves first, because really, that's where it all begins, in correcting this. But I will say that by being civil, you do have to respect the other person around you, or the person in front of you. You may not like their politics. You may not like even the way they make breakfast. You may not like the way they serve you. You may not like anything about them, but if you're a human being, let's just say, right, then you have to respect each other. You have to respect the other person's thoughts, feelings, opinions when they're valid and when they make sense. And when they don't make sense, when they're insulting, completely out of line, that is not a pass for them to express their ignorance onto you, and then you, because I make the offer to be civil, that it gives them excuse not to be civil. That does not, it doesn't work that way. And it's about time we stop playing those games. Seriously. I think we're mature enough to know what civility means and how to be civil towards each other. If you say something respectful towards me, I will take that in stride and do my best to say something respectful towards you. But if you say something crazy or something filled with weird imagination, sorry about that, then all I can just say is that I really can't respect that. Respect is definitely a two-way street. And treating someone like, hey, brother, I'll take that. But if you're gonna think something's funny because it came out your mouth, and you asking for respect on something that you thought was crazy, no. I'm gonna just say that comparing an island to garbage, an island of people who live there, who have families there, which is part of this country but not part of this country, it's something you probably say to your boys, right? You say that to your boys when you're around, no one's around. When you say it in front of a packed house of people, come on now, bruh. Not respectful. And that's the kind of tone and that's the kind of rhetoric we're going to get. People that think something's funny, and guess what? It's not funny. Now, I know we're going to both sides it. We're going to say, what about that side over there? Well, guess what? It could be wrong too. And the fact, if you think that's not funny, you know, you're an adult. You have the right to say, or the right to express your displeasure if you want to. I deal with students. I deal with adolescents and older adults. And trust me, they're more mature than most of the adults I've dealt with. At least those young people are trying to become adults and have adult minds. When we sit back into this, well, what about now? Sir, ma'am, not really. So all I'm just saying is that respect is a two-way street. That's all it is. And that civility is definitely a part of it. You can express an opinion of how you feel towards a comment, an individual, a policy, whatever it is that you want to express your displeasure about. And at the same time, be civil about it. Just say, okay, I disagree with that. And here's the reason why I disagree with that. There are many times, and I can tell you, that I've tried to be objective with individuals who had different thoughts and opinions as I did, and they just ranted and raved and talked about that opinion as if there was absolute solid fact. And guess what? Turned out to be wrong. But all I can just say is that even living here in California, you have to deal with folks like that and just accept that's the way they are. They have their thoughts, they have their opinions, they have their viewpoints, and they're going to stick with those viewpoints no matter what. Okay. You can understand that. You may not accept it, but you do understand that. People are going to have different thoughts and different viewpoints, and you may not agree with them. In fact, you will never agree with what they're saying. But you do understand they were probably raised in an environment that those thoughts and viewpoints were part of their everyday life, and it's something that they believed in. So guess what? They express their desire to stick with those viewpoints and thoughts no matter what, even if they're proven wrong. That's fine. That's totally fine. My father, bless his soul, would often have these pointed arguments with people that did not see the same thing he did, including me. But it was all in good conversation, all in good faith, and he just expressed an opinion that he thought needed to be said. And my father was very opinionated. Trust me. Charles Sr. would love to tell you what he thought and didn't care what you had to say. He was going to win an argument. All I can just say is that people who are like that, okay, you do know that you can never win an argument with them, but if you can just try to present your case in a way that, hey, guess what? Makes sense to make people think, then you probably win that battle. All I'm just trying to say here is that if we can just make people think about the arguments, you give them a thought in their head, like maybe there's another side to this. Let's check it out. But I do know that we're living in a time and place in the 21st century is supposedly advanced, quote unquote advanced society, sorry, that it's a little difficult to be objective. It's a little difficult to have a rational thought that looks at both sides of the argument. But keep trying. Keep doing your best to make people think, because we're going to need that now that we've entered this new age of wherever this new age is going to be. Remember that we're all human. We all have opinions, and no one really has all the facts. But just trust and believe that in the end, we all have to be civil, and we all have to respect each other, even though we feel the other person may not understand what we're talking about. So all I can just do is I can just share this with you. It's just that being civil doesn't mean you're weak. It just means that you have a different thought, a different viewpoint than someone else, and that's all right. We're not meant to be the same. We're meant to be different in our own ways, even down to the hairs on our head, right? Or the number of hairs on our head. We're all different. We all come from diverse backgrounds, cities, towns, ethnicities. And what really matters the most is that we're all human. So these next following years, let's think human. Let's think a little higher than the animals and not sink to that level. And let's try to make this earth a better place instead of trying to get into rocket ships and flying off and leaving it. There's no guarantee the next plane you go to is going to be that hospitable either. Just my thoughts. So, if you like what you've heard, please, by all means, click the subscribe button down below, or where you see it, including the like button if you like what's being said here. But really, just a few thoughts on what happened and moving forward, and also sifting through the thought processes of many of our mature adults today. I trust that you will have a great holiday season coming up. Hope that you have a wonderful time with your families, friends, and loved ones. And until the next time, always in closing, take care.